What motivated you to transition out of the service, and why did you decide supply chain?
Uh, the motivation was I was ready to retire. I was at 27 years. They were like, "Hey, you're a shoo-in for sergeant major." I'm like, "Yeah, but that means 5 more years of wear and tear on my body," and
Wow.
I just didn't see the return on investment as far as the back end pension would go. So I was like, "Okay, I'm going to do this time, and we're going to say thank you." So that's kind of where the finish line decision was reached. As far as supply chain, I won't say that I chose supply chain. I was more thinking on the operational training side because I had more experience in that in my career. I did act as a supply sergeant from time to time, but I was finishing out my time as a first sergeant in a full leadership position. Before that, I was an operations guy, and I also had training experience as a doctrine writer when I was worked as an instructor at the schoolhouse. So that's kind of the direction I was leaning. But the opportunity, I was going through COVID. It was really rough because companies were not hiring very much
Right.
during COVID. They're all trying to figure out how do we even operate as a company that's going to have to operate virtually for the next who knows how long. Um, but I was scoping through LinkedIn and I tripped across this position that was available. I don't know that it specifically said Jacksonville, but that's where I was planning to relocate and retire. I'd already purchased a home because my wife had family up in Jacksonville. There was military services in Jacksonville, and I wanted to be able to fish all year round. So Jacksonville just kind of checked all those boxes. So we already had the house before COVID came on, so I knew I had to work in Jacksonville. As far as the supply chain side of things, this position came open. It was called a supply chain manager by title, but when I was reading through the description, it was very wide. It wasn't just like you're going to order a product and make sure it gets here on time. It had just such a variety of topics that it covered. And I had my MBA and finished up my PMP certification at that point and was already engaged in Lean Six Sigma I'm sorry, a Six Sigma Green Belt program as well. So I felt like I had a lot of the criteria necessary to do what this job role entailed. So I just kind of hit apply. And I didn't think much about it, quite honestly.
Right.
After I hit apply, I was looking at LinkedIn a little deeper and I realized my nephew, who happens to be a little bit older than I am, was LinkedIn connected to the CFO. And I was like, oh, I should reach out to my friend, my nephew Mike, and say, how well do you know this guy, Vince uh, Scheibler? And he's like, we're kind of buddies. We go back to college. I was like, okay, cool. I just applied to a position at his company. He's like, oh, well, send me your resume. I'll shoot it to him. So I do that. He's like, hey, by the way, Vince's birthday is like in 2 days. So here's his phone number. Send him a text and say happy birthday. I was like, cool. I'm going to do that too. So I do that. And then like 2 months goes by. I heard nothing. I was like,
Wow.
ouch. So that was in the back of my head. I'm like, okay, this networking thing isn't quite as powerful as I thought from what I've been hearing. But contrary to that, 2 months later, thankfully, my nephew Mike was like, hey, did you ever hear from Vince? I was like, no, I didn't. He's like, send me your resume again, because I was about 30 at that point. And he sends it to Vince. And like the next day, I get a phone call. I was
Good.
like, what was the difference, right? So something internally happened on the SEAL Shield side where they were going through candidates and they had kind of flushed them all out to the point where they're like, there's no good candidates, and they refused to just hire somebody. Um,
Uh-huh.
so when my resume came across my now boss's desk, he saw that I didn't have the supply chain experience that I wanted, that he wanted, but he saw gobs of leadership. He saw a high level of integrity, someone that gets things done. And he's like, I can teach this guy supply chain. I need someone that will help culture and create that culture of getting things done, finishing the job, taking leadership responsibilities within the organization and driving that type of mentality. And this is like what he was telling me in interviews. Like, this is
Right.
what I need you to be doing. I was like, okay, let's do it. So that's how I kind of landed the role. Um, I'll tell you, the salary was not where I had my head of what I'm worth. Okay. And I talked to my wife about that. I said, well, thankfully, this is work from home, so I'm not going to be putting wear and tear on the car. They're going to set me up with some of the equipment I need to do the work from home job, monitors and the laptop, of course. So I was like, the upfront investment for me was okay. I was going to be saving money in places because I'm not going to have these commuting costs. And I said, it's a small company, so there should be opportunity for me to work my way up. And she's like, okay, let's do it. So I took the position and had a really big win in the first 6 months. I think that's like a skill, a thing to do, is chalk up small wins early so that they go, this person is valuable. We want to keep this person. How do we retain that talent and keep encouraging the behavior? So over the I can get more into the actual story what those wins were, but I got promoted. So I got promoted to senior manager. And then over the course of time, we had some, I'll say, attrition. Some people just left voluntarily. We lost a couple people. And then the company's finances were a little stagnant for a bit, so promotions just kind of stopped. But about, I guess it's now 2 months ago, my boss and we had a conversation, and now I'm the director of supply chain. So, it's been a very good success story. I love the company. I love the products that we make because our products are in the infection control market. So everything that we do helps reduce hospital-acquired infections, and across other industries as well. If you're ever going to a Panera and you see there's like a screen protector on all of their kiosk devices, we make those here in Jacksonville.
And that's your company called Seal Shield, is that right?
Yeah, there's three primary products we do: waterproof, washable keyboards and mice. You can put these things in a dishwasher. Some of them are IP68 waterproof. You can also hit them with hospital-grade detergents, and over, the letters won't degrade over time. So they withstand the rigor of hospital disinfection protocol. We also manufacture screen protectors. These screen protectors are really cool. They are bespoke, so we cut them to order for each customer with our product, and they are antimicrobial and also withstand UV light. So when you have a EKG that has a touch screen on it, this product is on top of that. So when they're cleaning those touch screens, the product's cleaning itself, and then when they're spraying it, they're not degrading the $10,000, $20,000 piece of medical equipment because our is actually helping prevent that wear and tear. And then the last piece that we're in is the UVC disinfection space. So we have two products. One is, I say, customer facing. The other one is more back office. You put your product into like a cell phone or a tablet into our box. It uses UVC light, and it kills 99.9 logarithmic to the 5 of all germs on it. So all these products are really, really cool in the infection prevention business, and it's a great market to feel that you're helping reduce hospital-acquired infections and infections in general.